It's 6 o'clock. We'll go ahead and start the meeting. Try to get our question pants a little bit fairly warm, but our condition a little low, so we got a technician gonna come to charge that up for us tomorrow. So, okay. So if we would, we'll stand and have the invocation to the city meeting. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Lord Jesus, we love you tonight, God. We thank you for another opportunity to represent our beautiful town. We ask that every decision be made according to your perfect will. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Okay, at this time we'll have reading of the minutes by the city recorder.
Saltillo Board of Aldermen met March 1st, 2022 at 6 p.m. in the City Hall for the regular monthly meeting. The meeting was called to order by Mayor Lowry, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Invocation was given by Alderman Reeves. In attendance were Mayor Lowry and Alderman Billings, Maynard, Morgan, Reeves, and Wood. The meeting's minutes were read with a motion to approve from Alderman Reeves, second motion by Alderman Morgan. The minutes were approved as read. The mayor and board were provided with a copy of the expense and revenue report for March 2022. Item 15 of the minutes regarding flooding on Willis property is amended to state all aldermen received a copy of complaint. This has not been referred to the city attorney. Old business number 1, siren grant. The contract was signed April 1st. Number 2, fire truck. Another mechanic has been contacted to make repairs to the truck. Number 3, community center repairs. Minor repairs have been made at the park to the playground, auditorium, and gym. Alderman Billings will update as needed. Number 4, neglected properties. Chief Young has issued 2 letters in March. He has advised that he is doing a section at a time and hopes to move forward by June 2022. New business number 1, street lighting. Alderman Woods discussed the outage of the previous week. Number 2, Heritage Festival. Mike Fields is doing a great job coordinating this event. There are hopes for a high turnout. Number 3, ARPA funds. Documents have been submitted. A response will be received by the end of April 2022. Number 4, street signs. Hardin County will be making replacement street signs. A list of street names need to be submitted. Alderman Maynard and Woods volunteered to compile the list. Number 5, Half Moon Lake. City Attorney Cobb is working towards a resolution regarding the roadway in that area, which was deeded to Hardin County. Number 6, street repairs. Mayor Lowry has spoken with the contractor. Repairs will begin when weather permits. Number 7, doctor's office. Mayor Lowry will follow up with Ms. Shaw for disposition of the lease. The location is currently ready for habitation. Number 8, budget. The amended budget will be ready by the May meeting. Budget talks will begin in May. Number 9, surveillance cameras. There are 7 cameras in place at the community center. Number 10, donation. Steve Turner donated a stove to the community center for use. Number 11, May 3rd, 2022 election. Mayor Lowry received a letter requesting the use of the safe shelter for the Republican primary. Number 12, Resolution 2022-01. A motion was made by Alderman Billings to approve Resolution 2022-01 to support restoring the historic revenue sharing relationship between the state of Tennessee and its local governments, and to return the local share of the single article cap to local governments. A second motion was made by Alderman Wood. No discussion, the motion passed. Number 13, Tennessee River Poker Run. Mayor Lowry will reach out to Stewart Grooms for assistance. The board was provided with an official job duties for each employee. Chief Young provided a report of fire calls for the first quarter of 2022. There were 4 calls in January, 1 in February, and 7 calls in March. Alderman Billings discussed the Property Tax Freeze Act. Saltillo currently does not participate in this program. He also asked the board to review for the May meeting. With no additional business to discuss, a motion was made by Alderman Wood and seconded by Alderman Reeves to adjourn the meeting. The motion carried and the meeting was adjourned by Mayor Lowry.
You've heard the reading of the minutes. Do we have a motion to approve the minutes as read?
I'll make a motion.
Second?
Second.
Discussion? Okay, we'll approve the minutes. Alderman Billings,
Yes.
Alderman Morgan,
Yes.
Maynard,
Yes.
Reeves.
Yes, sir.
Wood.
Yes.
All right, the minutes are approved as read. So what we're gonna do this morning, we do have, I'm gonna put, Ms. Shaw up at the beginning with the doctor's office, cause they wanna get back before it get too late. So I think we had discussed, and I had talked to Ms. Shaw previously, we had the roof fixed. What's his name that fixed that roof for you?
Andy Parrish.
Andy Perry. So the roof is leaking again. But other than that, Ms. Shaw, I think they're prepared to inhabit. Okay, Ms. Shaw, we did send her a copy of the contract, and the only stipulation that they didn't have was what we was gonna charge them after the year. And I had asked her how much basically it was, and she had given me a figure, so I told her that I thought they felt that they could afford $750 a month. So does the board, before she start, before we can give her leeway, do y'all have any objection to being paid that amount, entering in the contract after the first year?
Sounds good.
Okay, Ms. Shaw.
One Life Wellness is almost fully credentialed. We are excited about coming to Saltillo, Tennessee. It will be a full-service medical clinic. Currently, our medical director just retired from Jackson General Hospital as of May 1st. So we are looking at doing at least 4, maybe 5 days of service. The nurse practitioners, we have everything ready to go. I went in the facility tonight, and that's what I shared with him. There's a roof leak because there was a ceiling tile on the floor, so it must be pretty severe. But he assured me that the city would take care of that, that they would, check into it. This would not be the week, since they say that we're probably going to have rain most of the week. But, we're excited. And like I told him, we were fine with the contract. We just wanted a clause or something added to let us know what you wanted after year 1 as far as lease payment. And so do any of you all have any questions for me?
Ms. Shaw, one thing
Sir.
is, I think on the lease, it has to have a party that's responsible. I don't think we received that information.
Right.
So,
Yes. Myself and Dr. Pamela Murray will be the parties that will be responsible.
okay, so
Yes, sir.
if you would, we probably.
You want me to sign that piece of paper? I didn't do anything with that document. Dr. Murray and I looked at it, but she was like, can we get a document that has the full clause and the amount and stuff in it? And if we can't, I can go on and sign that for you. I'll give you that information if you want
We're
it.
capable of
No, we
doing
needed the
that.
name of the business name.
Yes,
The
and
business
the
name.
EIN and all of that,
Yeah.
correct.
Right.
Right.
Do you want me to give you the IRS letter? Do you want a copy of that, or
So
do you
you
just want it
can,
on
you
there?
just email that
Okay,
information back
okay,
to us,
sure.
and then
I
I'll
can
fill it out and send it back to you so you can sign.
just give me your email and I can send it to you
Okay.
as a document attachment. No worries.
Okay.
Yes.
So what we will do is we will include, after the first year will be rent-free, lease-free.
Yes, sir.
After the first year, it'll be $750 a month. And, of course, the city will still will have roof leaks or air conditioner go down, we would be responsible for that.
For that
It would
maintenance.
just be normal operation. Okay, so, when you get her that information, then we can reconstruct the lease.
And when you get that, can you tell me exactly where I need to go in Lexington? Because he and I have discussed it to transfer all of the utilities and stuff as well.
Okay, that'll be Lexington Electric, and
Electric.
then Saltillo Utility District would be the water.
Okay,
Okay, but, if you'll, call me or somebody, Lexington is right there in town, so,
okay,
okay, so.
Yes, sir.
But now you'll need the lease in order to do that. They won't transfer it over unless you can show them that we're leasing it to you, because
Right.
it's in the
Right.
city's name now.
correct,
So once we do the contract, then you can take that with you and then they'll change it over.
right.
Okay.
And so you're just gonna add that amendment in as far as the payment for year
Yes,
after that? Yes, sir.
yes.
All right,
But we'll need the information as far as
For
the
it.
business name and the contact.
yes, sir.
Okay. all right.
Mayor, let me ask you
Yep.
a question real quick. all I received about the contract and lease was an old one, just an example of it. But number 5 says that the landlord, being us, shall not be responsible for the condition of any repairs, improvements such as that. So if we're gonna amend that, that may be something that needs to be addressed on the,
I didn't
you know,
bring my
when you
copy, but I
redo
do
it.
think I read that on the
Okay,
copy
yeah,
that I
yeah,
have.
yeah, we wouldn't, I mean, I think that, now, if you don't agree, we'll just, try to settle that, but, you know, when you rent from somebody, if the roof leaks, I think that should be the renter's responsibility, you know. If you got, I guess if you had a water main leak, we would probably need to address that too. I think their responsibility would be, the condition inside the building and operational use.
okay, all right. Yeah, just when I read this.
And
this
what was that, what number was that?
This is number 5
Did you
on
get
the
that?
lease that was used some time ago.
Okay,
It says improvements and repairs, landlord shall not be responsible for the condition of or any repairs, improvements, or alterations to any structure, apparatus now leased on the premises. So, and I'm kind of with you, if we're renting a building and the roof leaks, we ought to take care of that.
right.
If something falls off the wall and tears something inside, they should be responsible for that. But I think we
Yes,
need to be
That's
clear in number 5, so it is, you know, an old structure.
Right.
with, you know, that, like you say, air conditioning systems, that could be a major cost, but we might wanna be clear on number 5. But
Well,
I'm
I
all
think that,
for
of course, you know, hot water heaters, stuff
Yeah,
like that
yeah,
is, wouldn't, I mean, that would fall on the use of the building.
Yeah, yeah, so, but as far as, 1 year free and 750 thereafter, I'm all for that, for the city.
Okay. All right, are there any other discussion or any other questions from Ms. Shaw?
When do you think you would be open?
Well, I talked to the credentialing person today, and we are over 50% all of the insurance providers. So we are hoping that we can open maybe by the end of this month or the first of next month. We've got practically everybody's insurance. We were waiting on VA, Aetna, and Cigna. So we've made significant progress. That we feel like we're gonna have a board meeting next week. We wanted to meet after we had this meeting, and it could be sooner than that.
But for sure by the 1st of June.
Yeah, that's our goal.
Yeah, that's
First of
awesome.
July 15th.
That's your target, Ms.
Yes. If we can get everything else taken care of, yes. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Any other questions?
Looking forward to it.
Thank you. We are too. We're
All
really
right.
excited.
Thank you, Ms. Shaw, for coming down. Ma'am, I didn't, what's your name?
I'm with Deborah.
Okay, all right,
Renee.
well, thank y'all for
All
coming
right,
down.
thank you all. Appreciate you.
Y'all have a great night.
Y'all too.
Thank you.
Okay, at this time, we're gonna move on down. We'll start like we did with the old business list. The siren, I'm gonna try to make this quickly as possible. The siren grant, we signed the contract, and what we did, we talked with 911 at Savannah, and they kind of requested that we use a wheeling siren because they're more compatible with wheeling. But what we had to do with the grant, you can't signify. So what Casey done was we signed a letter and we sent it back to the grant people, asked them if we could particularly choose a wheeling siren because it was compatible with our 911. So she said that only take a couple of days, and if they don't, then we'll just take the necessary steps with an additional siren to meet the qualifications that they need and us. So the siren is ongoing, $116,000, and I think ours is $16,000 match. Okay, so is any
Just a real quick question, just out of ignorance. You said a wheeling siren. Is that a name brand siren?
Yes,
Is that the way it
wheeling.
operates?
No,
It's a
wheeling.
name brand.
It's a name brand.
Okay.
Right. Actually, I think most towns, I don't know too many siren companies, but Wheeling is one of the top. But you can't, I mean, when you're filing for a grant, they said that we couldn't just ask for a specific siren unless we made a specific request. So anyway, we got that back to her. When did we send that? Thursday, I think it was. So anyway, that's ongoing. So we hope that we'll get that process pretty quick to where we get the 2 sirens. Okay, we're still working on the fire truck, the community center repairs. Greg, on the community center, did you have any input on?
Well, I could share it just briefly, and I'm not gonna go through all of it. I gave everybody a copy of the things that's been ongoing, things that's not done. After this meeting, the next meeting, I'm gonna take everything off that list that's been completed because it's just taking up space. And then we have a lot of other things to address, so we hope to see, more information come in about some bids and stuff like that.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, so we're gonna move right along. On neglected properties, Chief Young, he's here tonight and he submitted 2 pay requests. He's got, I think we had agreed that if he worked them and got them disposed of, that we would compensate $125 per case for the extra work that he put in. And what I've got is 1 pay request for the Parker building and the other for Dwayne Eames, the old house on 69 up on side the hill. And it's supposed to be gone Saturday. I talked with Dwayne and he says, hey man, I'm gonna have it tore down. Mr. Willis is supposed to tear it down. He said Saturday morning if everything goes well. So those are the 2 properties that he has fulfilled. And today, I think we sent a letter to Miss East. What is that?
Caprice East.
Caprice East.
Mhm.
That is the property next to Mac down at campsite. So, but we sent the tax statement to the same address and it came back. So today we called the assessor property as well as the tax collectors in Savannah, and they had the same address. Actually, they had a second address for us. So what we did was just send her a package on both our addresses. Now, if she don't respond to that, we'll just have to take the next steps in contacting the person or citing them in the court to where we can contact them to work with that property. So does anybody have any discrepancy as far as paying Chief Young the $250 for the 2 properties?
I don't think we decided that. Did we decide that, board?
We didn't decide that? Did we
No.
not discuss that?
I think y'all
6
discussed
months?
it, I don't know if you ever.
I think there was a discussion. I don't think there was
Okay,
confirmation.
Okay, well, let me just address to the board. Do you want to pay Chief Young for doing that?
Well, what we had been told was, and we all asked about it, I'm gonna scoot back so I can see everybody, but what we'd been told was that when he got his raise that money was for that. And that's what we even wrote on here that we wrote on here and that Benita was, gonna help him do that.
I haven't helped him much. I haven't done anything but mail it for him though. So far.
Well, now, how much you get a month, Chief?
$350.
Now, I'm gonna tell you people something. We putting more on people for 300. Now, Kenny's first responder, and he runs the fire department. Now we add this to him. And I think for us not to try to compensate people for what they do, I don't think none of you would do his job for the money that he gets, or any of them gets, Kay or any of them. But if you don't want to agree to pay him that, then I'll look and see what my powers are, Chief, because I think you should be compensated for the extra work myself.
That's not what I'm saying. You're mistaken what I'm saying. I'm not saying that we shouldn't pay him, I'm saying, did we decide that? Because
Well, I'm
we had
asking,
talked
do y'all
about-
want to pay him? If you don't, we won't pay him. I'll figure out another way, but I'm asking you now, since we didn't discuss it, I'm not gonna argue that. I'm not gonna argue the point that, because I don't totally remember, I thought we had that all understood, that when we got somebody that, because we had talked about hiring Roger Phillips and we was gonna pay him.
But we didn't, we never could come up with what we were gonna pay him.
Yeah,
That was never
Yeah,
agreed
but
on.
$125, how cheap can you get?
But when we asked how much we were gonna pay him,
Okay,
You
the
could
question
not- you
is,
couldn't
the
make that
question, if you
decision.
do, I'm asking the question now, do you wanna pay him for the job he did or you don't? He's
Mayor,
asking $125 per case.
Mayor, I'd say, kind of, I guess, split the difference at the moment. We got one job that is complete and done, that's the Parker building.
Right.
I would be fine with $125 for the completion of that job, and then next month, if the other job is complete, to bring it back.
Okay.
Well, I mean, I don't think we should pay anybody before the job done, but I can say that the Parker building is gone, complete and done, so.
Well, I agree with that, but do we feel that 125 is too much, or do you feel that's a fair compensation, or do we want to make a decision that on future cases that we would acknowledge that?
Well, I think in the last meeting that you stated that you would give us the information, let me go back to my notes, this meeting about, the paperwork that they filled out, and so we would know exactly how much time and trouble.
Now,
it
I'm not
was.
gonna go through all of that mess.
What- no.
Listen, board, we got to work together, and look, the man goes out, he's gotta take pictures of the property, then he sends letters, then he sends another letter. And then he works with Stephen on the side in the court to give you, the board members, I'm the mayor, and some things that we gotta trust one another and we gotta work with, and to just, I'm not gonna just, if it ain't worth $125, if I just wouldn't accept nothing. Just let it go. Because, the thing about it is, the man gets $325 a month, and every responder call or fire call, Kenny's on it. And whether we like it or not, he's there. And he runs the fire department. And who would do that in a 30-day period for $325 and then take on running these properties down and getting them tore down for the same money? Now, that's being a nut.
No. I think what we were asking was that, is that the set we're gonna pay, whether it's Kenny or whomever else?
That's what I just asked y'all. Is that, I just asked the question, do you want to pursue this? Do we want to make a decision tonight as to pay that amount for the job, for that job? Or if you don't, what do you recommend paying for that job?
Well, I personally think it's pretty cheap, because it's a multi-month ordeal. This ain't something Kenny can get done in 1 month.
125, I don't think is out of reason, but I think it needs to be on a completed job.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
we've had
fine.
some
I
jobs
understand
that-
that.
I mean,
That ain't no
I'm just
problem.
giving my
I'm sure it
opinion.
don't matter to him. I had talked, whenever he submitted this, I had talked to Dwayne, so I knew it was gonna be tore down. But like you say, if you don't trust that judgment, then the Parker building is tore down. So let's just discuss the Parker building. Let's just take Mr. Eames off the table, and we'll discuss. He turned in this pay request for the Parker building and Mr. Eames, but I'm gonna put Mr. Eames is over here. So now we're just discussing the Parker building. Now the question in discussion is, do we wanna pay him $125 to do that type of work for us, or do we not wanna pay him? Or do you got a recommended price you wanna pay him, or how do the board wanna handle it?
I think 125 is fair, but for as many times as he's going and when it's completed.
Yeah, I do too, and I make a motion.
Okay, it's a motion. Do we have a second?
125 per completed job.
Right,
I'll second it.
okay. Alderman Billings,
Yes.
Alderman Morgan,
Yes.
Alderman Maynard,
Yes.
Reeves,
Yes, sir.
Wood.
Yes.
Okay, now, is this gonna be what we're gonna pay for each process? 125 for each process once they're torn down?
Per completed, yes, sir.
Okay.
Mayor, I think it's actually, I hate to make it sound like it does, but it is what it is. It's actually an incentive pay for doing that extra legwork to help our town to be in a better shape and presentable for all of our welfare. So, I think it's a good thing.
Okay, so Chief, I'll acknowledge this one, and once Mr. Eames get his tore down, then we'll address that one at the next meeting. Okay, we're gonna continue on then. Okay, now, street lighting. Okay, so we've had some outages on street lighting, but that's Lexington Electric, we can't do nothing about that with the exception of calling it in. So Ms. Wood's been calling it in, so we're gonna move on forward. Is there any discussion on street lighting? Okay, the Heritage Festival, Mike Fields asked me to thank everybody for their hard work. He couldn't be here tonight, but he did say that it was a success, and he can't wait to get started on next year because he wanted it to do it again. So it's gonna be up to the board. Do we want to do that again? I know he says he want to, but
Yeah, I say yes, but I think he sent me a message that he's gonna have like a follow-up meeting, a debriefing Saturday here.
That's right.
Yes, that'd be good, yeah.
Okay, so, But now that debriefing meeting, that's just him with the committee.
Yeah.
So, but now it's up to the board if we would decide we wanna have that event next year. So if we all are in agreement, so I don't necessarily know that it needs a motion to have that, to say that we're gonna have it next year if we all in agreement. Okay? Okay, on the ARPA funds, we've submitted the documents. We did get a go-ahead from the state. We still gotta file our expenditures with the federal government. Is that right, Benita?
Yes, sir.
And it's just filing the expenses with them, so, but, the state, and we filed the whole $156,000, and they had give us approval, so I don't know how that's gonna transpire, as far as the 79,000 we got and the 79,000 we're supposed to get, so we'll have to just take this step by step and follow the procedures that they require for us to where we can, get that other money if possible. Okay, is there any discussion on the ARPA? Now, we did discuss when it is approved that, I think there was a couple of things that we had acknowledged that we were looking at, which is a maintenance truck, I believe, is that right? I think we had discussed 15,000, is that right, a maximum?
Are we gonna have a paper that gives us the breakdown of how we're spending that?
Well, we hadn't, I mean, the only thing we've discussed on the 79,000, we bought the police car. And I think we discussed 16,000 on the salary.
Yeah.
And then we discussed 15,000 on the utility truck. Now, as far as the rest of it, I don't know that we made a permanent decision as to how we was gonna spend the balance. So, but you know, we still got another, we can look at that, we don't have to make that decision tonight.
I think that left $23,015 after you said $15,000 for a maintenance truck and a police car and a siren. So it left $23,000.
No, you had computers.
I know we were talking about the air
3
conditioning
computers.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the air conditioners in the gym,
Yeah.
so, okay, we had the, computer upgrades in the gym and then the community center, for the siren and, police maintenance vehicles, so, 23,000, so if we do the siren, I mean, we do the computers out there and then do the, air conditioners. The air conditioners usually about 700 versus somewhere in there, 650, 700 a piece, so we're looking at, $2,800 on the air conditioner, so let's round that off to 3,000. That leave, how much you say it was, 20 what?
Well, Mayor, the previous minutes addresses the breakdown of what that money would be, the previous
Okay.
minutes. Of what we allocated now, like I said, the police car, we've taken care of that, but we didn't spend as much as on there. But sirens upgrades, 16,800, computer upgrades, 3,500, community center repairs, 16,000, general loss of revenue, 83,000, what we put on
That's right.
the list, but that's the previous months.
Well, now, when we say loss of revenue, 83,000, that's counting the 79,000 that we hadn't got
That's
yet.
right, that's right.
Okay, so, okay, but we're still, we're gonna file the expenditure report with the federal government, and then, next month, we should have an answer, and we'll tweak it down to exactly what we're gonna spend on. So if you got any other ideas, then, when we come back to the next city meeting, be the time to expose it. Okay, any other discussion on the ARPA funds? Okay, street signs, Hardin County, did you get the map?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now, what I wanna say is that, I know 911 called me and the alderman, we have, information here at City Hall that if the committees or the board or whoever's working, if you work with me, then you could come by City Hall, we can get those, what records you need to where, now, I've already talked with the county mayor, and I said this before, when we gave him the doors and the motors up there, he said that Hardin County Road Commission, they make the signs. And once we got our list of signs and stuff that we could petition them, and perhaps, now that was 5 years ago, so I'm hoping that still stands, okay? But the thing about it is everybody's got a job to do. I got a job. Now, the board, whenever you go to 911 or the county or even Ronnie Neal, he called me, but when you go to them and you ask for records, those records are given to you for the city. They're not given to you for personal for you to take home. They're given to you on behalf of the city, and then those records are city records. So when you go get that stuff, I mean, we need to try to work together to where we can maintain the best for the city. But I've got my job to do. As the executive branch, you guys got y'all's job to do as the legislative branch. And if we can't get along, if we keep arguing and bickering among ourselves, divided house can't stand. We're not going to be able to accomplish nothing. So the thing about it is, I think that if you need some documentation, why you don't call the city or why you don't come and ask for what you need rather than going to the other, which I don't have a problem. But the thing about it is they call me because they're not issuing it to you as an alderman because it's not your call, whether you like it or not.
They issued it to me.
That's because I told them this morning to. Brian Gibbs called me this morning.
At all, and so don't get me wrong, but I'm just saying, I don't feel that we're not working together, Mayor, and I don't understand why you think we're
Well,
not.
you demise my ability to act as mayor when all you had to do was call me and say, hey, Mayor, I need the street maps to the city. Miss Carlin had went and got some earlier. And then too, I told her I'd look up and find the maps we had at City Hall. But nobody called me about street maps. But Brian Gibbs called me this morning. I told him to give them to you. Calvin Hinton, when you go for maps and stuff, he'll tell me, Matt, so-and-so come for maps. And I say, well, hey, give it to him. But it's not for you personal. It's when you bring them back, you bring them to City Hall.
They're in my car, I'm bringing them to you.
Well, I got a copy of them. But the thing about it is
just a question, and I have no clue. Can a citizen, just so we know, and so the viewing audience knows, so the only way to get a map of the streets named, which the ones I got didn't have the names on them, that I dropped off several months ago. But the only way a citizen can't get that information, it has to be, it can't even be elected official, it has to be the mayor.
Are you getting them on behalf of City of Saltillo or yourself?
But you can get them as yourself.
I don't know what you can.
You don't know?
No,
okay.
I do not know.
I don't know either.
But I know that they called me and I said, well, hey, go ahead and give them to them because some things we get, especially like the 911 addresses. I was told, hey, I'm going to send you this voting list and 911 addresses, but that's to be kept to the city. It's not to be a public. I mean, I wasn't supposed to put it out there, so I didn't. But we do have them here when you're working on committees and stuff that you access. But still, like I say, as the mayor, I've got responsibility, and you got responsibility. And whenever, if I say, hey, like, of course, Miss Maynard, Miss Wood, I think we discussed in the last meeting, y'all would work on city streets. But the thing about it is you're not working with me. Nobody called me about the street map, say, hey, Mayor, we're going to do this. Nobody said, well, me and Teresa and Karen, we all working on that. And I'm saying, well, hey, I thought I was the mayor.
Well, I mean, we said in that meeting, she said she would do it. I said I'd help her. You know,
But let me tell you, we just didn't start this when y'all got on the board. We have been doing this for years, and we've got documentation in here of the city streets. We just have to find it. When you come in and holler, you just can't put your hands on it right then. But instead of coordinating with city government, instead, once you do something, y'all just take off and go and as if it's a new kid on the block or something. And that leaves me out because I don't know what's going on.
Well, I thought you gave us in this typed up board meeting, it says street signs, da-da-da-da-da, Alderman Maynard and Wood volunteered to compile the list. So I didn't.
Don't you start with your city government
but
first?
But I didn't know that. I thought that we would be able to do that by ourselves. I mean,
well, where do you start though? We've got what you was asking for at the county right here.
The city hall's not open all the time when it's convenient for us to call you. That's fine. But at the same time, I don't know why you would be upset by that.
Because what you're doing is, I need to know what's going on. I mean, if you think a mayor don't need to know what's going on, then you're wrong. That's why you're the legislative branch and I'm the executive branch. because you got to work as a team. But now, I didn't know that you was going up there to get that information, because if you called me, I could have gave it to you right here without having to go up there. But when you go up there and get it, and I don't know what's going on within the city, now, as the mayor, I'm in the dark.
Well, I went up there to get the tags for my car, and I ran into somebody that knew what we were doing from listening to the last meeting, and they said, "Do you need a map?" And I said, "Well, yes, ma'am, I would take one." And one thing led to another, and it was just purely, I ran into a citizen from Saltillo. So it
Listen.
wasn't like I went hunting for something. I don't make, I feel like you're
It's-
trying to make it out to something that I didn't do.
Well, it's still proper procedure. If you needed maps, you could have called the city hall, or you could have
Okay.
come, but you
You're
was just
right.
down here the other day and we shouldn't talk. You never mentioned you needed a map.
Like I said, okay, that's fine.
But
That's
I
fair.
feel that when you start trying to go around me and leave me out, and
But
then
I'm
I'm in the
not going around
blind,
you.
I'm not gonna stand for that.
I'm not going around you.
Yeah, well, I think the difference. But anyway, we're not gonna argue. What we need to do is try to get along, respect each other's position, allow me to do my job, and I give you guys all the documentation where you can do your job, and then we can work as a team. I don't try to curtail nothing from you guys, and the thing about it is you got to be careful now, because you got the sunshine law. So when you got 3 people working on one project, you gotta meet somewhere to discuss the road maps and all that. You can't do that. That's why the maps and stuff are issued to the city where it can be in a public venue. So, you know, evidently it's a lot of something, but anyway, we're gonna move right along. We'll get off of that. Half Moon Lake, I haven't heard nothing from the city attorney on Half Moon Lake. Street repairs, I was supposed to meet with the contractor. He said he would definitely try to get here this weekend to meet with me on street repairs. The doctor's office, we just heard from Ms. Shaw. On the budget amendment, now that's one thing we need to look at right now pretty seriously, is to amend the budget, because we're fixing to get into the tax season. So to amend the budget, what we need to do is include monies that we received prior to the last fiscal year, which means after July 1st of 2021, the monies that we received has to be amended. So we've got the property taxes, we've got the ARPA fund, we've got the Siren grant,
Local government support.
local government support grant. So those are the grants that we did get during the off-season. How much was those, Benita? Did you have a figure on that?
Oh, the local government support was $20,866. Siren grant was $112,601, and the ARPA funds to date are $79,816.
Okay, so we're gonna need a motion to amend the budget to include these revenues into our city budget. Okay, so once we do the amendment, y'all, I guess all of you got a copy of this, right?
I may have made them.
No,
No,
I
You
don't
did.
I don't think I made them a copy.
Make, if you would, run them a copy of this right here, please. Okay, while she's doing that, we'll move on to, resolution, to support restoring the historic revenue sharing. We've already filed that with the state. The poker run, Stuart Grooms, he did say he would do the poker run as well as the fireworks. And we're submitting to Hardin County for $2,000 a grant for the fireworks. And we're gonna get that to the mayor's office tomorrow. They're gonna meet on May 10th. Okay, so, are there any discussions thus far on, what we just went over, the fireworks? And she's gonna get that amended budget back to where we can finalize it tonight, and then we can continue with the budget at the next meeting. Okay, one other thing, while she's doing that too, it don't concern her, is, she's taking a minute, so I guess I better wait.
Are you on number 12 still or
What's
13?
that, 12?
Or 13? Have you
13. 12 was, that was
Resolution.
where they had
Right.
the revenue profit
Okay,
sharing.
you haven't got to 13,
Yeah,
correct?
that was Stuart.
Yeah, that was Stuart, the poker run. He's
Yeah.
gonna do the poker run and the fireworks.
Did he say if he was still doing the poker run the last Saturday?
He said the last Saturday in July.
Okay.
Thank you,
Okay, now, you're looking at, she's got at the top ordinance 2022-01. Now, we're not, it does, what she's showing you here is that's what we're gonna pass when we're doing the budget, okay? Now, but you can see the ARPA funds, you can see the Siren grant, you can see the ARPA funds that we're amending the budget for included in that, the amounts. Now, when we do the budget, we are gonna have to look at some of the monies that we got in, because I think we went over, we divide the maintenance salaries with parks and city hall, and so I think we kind of run over in that a little bit last year, so we might have to look at how much we paid out versus how much we're gonna have to pay out this coming year. Okay, so is there any questions on amending the budget for the funds that she just stated? If you don't, we're gonna have to have a motion to amend these funds so that they can be included in the general budget.
I make the motion to include them.
Second?
I second.
Okay, now, let me say again, that's for the Siren grant, that's for the ARPA funds, that's for the, ARPA funds, and the, what was that other one?
Local government
Local
support.
government support fund. So that's what we're amending to enter into the budget, because we got that money and it was allotted afterwards. So, Alderman Billings,
Approve.
Alderman Morgan,
Yes.
Alderman Maynard,
Yes.
Alderman, Reeves,
Yes, sir.
Alderman Wood.
Yes.
Okay, so we're gonna amend the budget. Now, this is, you can hang on to this because this is the ordinance we're gonna be working with, but we might have to tweak this because we're gonna have to adjust some of the budget that we, kinda went into red on this year. I don't know exactly what it is at this point, but, I don't know if this, list over here show. I was looking at the, okay.
Yeah, the expenditure and revenue report does.
Yeah, if you look at your take the expenditure and revenue report home, and then you can see what we budgeted and what we paid over in and what we need to adjust on budget spending, okay? That's the statement of revenue and expenditures. Make sure you take that home with you, so when we have the next meeting, we can do the budget. Okay, now we did get a letter from the controller's office, and y'all got a copy of that letter? She just made a copy of it for you, right there. And they recommend that we adjust our property tax rate to 0.81.23. I think we got it now, what, 8.83. So now we'll be doing
Now,
that.
explain to me why we got this letter? Why did
It's
we
just a
get this letter?
recommendation because of the overall median ratio, the household. I mean, they go by 2 or 3 different things on.
Did we request this letter, or
No,
they just sent it out?
They just sent it out. No, we did not request it. It's a 2022 appraisal ratio, and it says overall median ratio for all assessed property in the measure of Central Tennessee historically certified by the State Board of Equalization, and the appraisal ratio for each county. The Hardin County median household income is $40,000. So that's basically what they base a lot of it on. No, we didn't ask for this, it just come in the mail. So when we do the budget, we might wanna look at that, but we'll be doing that when we do the budget, so hang on to that.
Mayor,
Yes,
let me ask you a question about this letter. So, you say when we do the budget, we'll have to consider this. Won't we have to vote to change the tax rate as when we first voted?
Every year, people think that when you set a tax rate, that it's set in stone. Every year, we have to pass a property tax.
I got you, but what I'm saying is we'll have to pass it. If we follow what the comptroller is advising, we'd have to just revote that.
Right,
Oh, okay.
right, or less. But, I mean, this is just what they recommend. It's not saying that we got to, but they recommend it because of the median household income and the county income that goes along with what they go by, so. But now, we'll do that when we do the budget, because that's when you got to vote on that, is doing the budget. Okay, we're gonna move right along pretty quick. We did get a letter from Mr. Jim Brown. I think you all got a copy of that letter too, and Mayor and Board of Aldermen, I would like to respectfully request the City of Saltillo ordinance pertaining to hog pens in the city limits to be amended to include other livestock or residential properties. In the past, I was subjected to livestock, including a bull and goat crossing over to my property. The livestock was contained by a neighbor whose property was an acre of land or less. To alleviate the problem with any new prospective buyers in our community, I ask that you consider amending the ordinance to the health and welfare of our citizens. Okay, now, what Mr. Jim Brown, I don't know if you know, he lives right next to David Poirier, but I think when Mr. Bill Johnson had his house behind him, I think he had 30 or 40 goats and 2 or 3 cows on less than an acre property. And what he's saying is that he thinks that there's too many animals to be contained on that small amount of property, and it wasn't really safe for the animals either. So, I think that we need to look at this, and perhaps if you want to, I don't know how to go.
Didn't you talk about us doing something about an acre or grand or something?
Well,
That could only be one animal per acre
well,
or
that's,
grand or something?
you know, really, farmers and everybody say that it takes for a cow or a horse or something, it takes actually at least an acre. But now some people, you know, like I really feel his pain. I know 40 goats and several cows on less than a half acre and a house. You know, I'm sure that that's got to, and the way Jim told me was the goat was eating his plants and he hit the goat with a stick and the goat run him in the house and tore his door off. So,
Do we, on
Y'all
our,
can be mean, man.
on our zoning thing, what does it say about, farm animals?
well, that's,
I thought it said that, I thought we already addressed that.
well, it's got, I mean, I don't think it go into detail as to how many animals you can have on a property, but I
thought
really don't know.
It restricted what animals you could have.
Right.
I thought
Well, I
we
think
said,
that-
we just voted that you couldn't have a pig.
Well, now, hog pens, you're right. I think that it's in the old ordinance, Greg. I think
Yeah,
you read.
and if I may take a minute, something you said about having too many animals on one plot of ground, we have no ordinance that governs any of that. But if that is the case, there's other county officials, I believe, that would intervene in somebody that had unsanitary or too many animals, I would assume. But our ordinance in the old book, it was only specific to hog pens, and it was very specific to major highway. You couldn't see it for so many feet, I think is what it was. But what he's asking is, I mean, although it sounds a little specific, it's a little vague into exactly what he's asking, other than for us to review that ordinance. And so I would say we should take that ordinance under advisement and study it a little further, but.
I agree.
Yeah,
So, let's look and see what, I mean, I don't know. I'm gonna have to review it by the next city meeting. I'll have some ideas, and I hope you guys will have some ideas to where maybe, because I mean, you know, we're getting more people come from California, different places down here, and you know what they want is a garden and farm animals, and they wanna live primitive life. So we're gonna run into this again, you see. And we already see it because we got a few pigs in the city limits.
I was thinking it was also, we were talking about it being so many feet from the next residence line too.
The resident
Yeah.
and the public road,
That's
that's what
right.
it's saying.
Well, yeah, mainly the public road.
But it's only specific to hog pen. We don't have any ordinance governing any other kind of farm animals on any kind of
Except
land.
pigs.
So we are a rural community, and yeah, people wanna have goats and things. Price of meat going up, they wanna raise their own, you know. But I do think we need to review it, considering the city proper versus our whole, cause our city grabs a lot of land that is not necessarily cityfied, if that's a word.
Right.
It's a lot of rural land within the city, and people wanna have 5 or 6 acres and some goats.
Well, we're protecting the animals too. That's not good for the animals. 40 on a half-acre land, they're gonna starve to death.
Well, they can feed them, but you know, it's
Smells
congested,
terrible.
it's
Yeah,
smell.
sure.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying, there's other humane society that deal, ASPCA and all those kind of people, I don't have animals myself,
Okay.
but, you know.
So we'll do this at the next meeting too. We'll just, that'll give us all time it'll give me time to look at other ordinances from other towns and try to tweak it and see, and it'll give you guys time too, to where you can assist me with that process. Okay, ISO, we did get a letter from ISO. I think that when they came and did the inspection a year ago, that the city had to do certain things to keep the 5X qualification. And they sent us a letter that we need to send in some of those things, or else we're gonna be classified as a 10. So the thing about it, I talked with Chief Young, and he stated that he had sent the documents in that they needed. I also called ISO today and told them I would like to be a part of that process. And so actually they sent me a message this evening that they was waiting on Chief Young to call them. So he's working on that. She said no, and we still maintain a 5X. 5 right here in the town outside going toward Don Robinson is a 5X. And she assured me today that it hadn't changed, that we're still a 5X, but they do need to get the necessary documents that they've been waiting for, which I think Chief Young's already sent it to them, but we need to follow up on it to make sure that's all they need to make sure we maintain that 5X clarification within the next year. Okay, is there any discussion on the ISO? See, Chief Young's here if you got any questions. Okay, okay, now we had discussed salaries. Now what I had done was the maintenance man, everybody that's being paid, with the exception of myself. I don't want nothing else, but they had asked for a small raise, and I think I have told numerous times as to what they was getting. I think I gave the board a survey sheet as to what they was requesting, and board, that's where I say that we all need to respect each other's job. That's why I gave you that, because they told me what they wanted. That don't mean that we have to give what they want. I gave you the survey sheet where you could evaluate, and then perhaps we could come up with an agreement as to some sort of raise as to what to give them, which we won't do it until, it won't be done until July 1st. But if you've got those surveys, what I would like to do is accept the surveys and then review them and talk to the individuals at hand. Or if you want them to come to the city meeting, I don't have a problem with that. And try to determine between what you propose and what they want and keep them working. Of course, I mean, I think they'll still work, but they did ask for some raises. So I don't know what you projected for them, but.
Can we ask you some questions about that?
Sure.
Okay, so we had asked earlier, like Benita's, so how many hours a week does Benita work? I mean, I'm not pinpointing Benita, I'm just asking, because we want to ask you about everybody here, because we just don't know exactly.
Okay, the maintenance men, they have a 30-hour work week.
Hold on a minute.
They work 3 days a week.
They work 3 days a week.
That's right. Okay, the city police works 3 days a week, 30 hours.
The maintenance guys work 30 hours?
That's correct. They work Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday.
Is that year-round?
No, they don't, they take off in October, and then they don't come back until March. Well, they come back right before the Heritage Festival, so they can get the park and everything up to par and stuff, so. But
Are they just working two days a week?
3.
I mean, this time from October to March, how are they doing?
1 day.
1 day?
Okay, and Stephen works 30 hours a week. Okay, and Kay works 2 days a week.
Is she the court clerk?
Yes,
Sandra's on here.
Sandra Alexander.
Two
Now-
day, 2 days each week?
Well, sometimes she comes in 3 because they have court 1 month. So 1 week she'll come in 3 days, and the other weeks of the month she come in 2 days.
But, I mean, is she here 8 hours? Is she here 4 hours?
Oh, no, she's here all day. I mean, you can come see that Jeep sitting out there, so.
I mean,
you know,
I
that's-
don't
but
know,
she's,
I understand.
no, she works all day pretty much. And then she comes, now, not only that, she comes in and, in order for us to maintain the grant that we get from the Governor's Highway Safety Office, which is $5,000 a year, we have to attend the meetings, and she'll attend the meetings for us, which we pay her gas for attending the meetings, but she'll attend the meetings. And also, sometimes she'll come in 3 days a week. It just depends on how many tickets Stephen write and how we gotta do our reports with TBI.
So, let me ask you this, because it was on it was on our site, on the Saltillo site. Somebody wanted to know about when they could pay a speeding ticket.
When they get a speeding ticket, there is a sticker on that ticket, and it has the court date and it has the phone number. And if they want to pay it off early, they can call that phone number, and Kay will make a special trip down here. That's why I say a lot of times she works more, because if they call her and say, hey, I'm in town, can I pay my ticket, she'll come down here and accept the money.
Okay, that's what I wanted to know. I mean, so there's not like set hours, like she works,
No.
it's not
Right.
open on certain, like Monday and Friday,
Right.
4 to 6.
Exactly
nothing like
right.
that.
If we had a box out here like we have,
They put them in there.
They do.
they
The
put the
campus
Texas
in
in
the
there?
box,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, so she don't need one over there.
No.
And
They
then
put
Stephen
it,
also
Couldn't they
has a
just put
box
it
in
in
the
there,
office.
she wouldn't have to meet them down here?
well, some of them should do, and some of them just
Some
put
it's
it in there,
cash.
you know.
Okay.
Huh?
It's cash payments. A lot of it is cash, and no one wants to just drop cash in the
Right,
box,
yeah, right.
so.
Yeah, but, yeah, Stephen has the key to that box, and they drop their tickets in there also. Okay, and of course Kenny, he's one, of course, he's paid as the fire chief, but we know, the responder calls he make as part of the fire chief job, so his hours is just very kinda like, mine, he don't have any set hours himself, so. Now, here's the thing about it is, if we need to go that route with, where they have specific hours, then what I'll do is I'll try to negotiate that with them.
Well, I think we were just all kind of wanting to know, because we
Yeah, well, I
didn't understand
understand.
that.
Yeah. But,
And maybe that could make some things run smoother sometimes when people ask about it, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm,
I'm just saying,
okay.
just throwing it out there.
Now, you speak on Benita's hours, she usually here on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays.
I'm not doing Wednesdays now, the tax season's over, just Monday and Friday.
Monday and Friday. Okay, but during the tax season, it's Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, but, so she's here now on Mondays and Fridays.
Do you don't have set hours on Monday and Fridays?
I mean, no, because I did payroll Sunday.
Right,
You
but
know,
if somebody wanted to come to City Hall, like I just spoke with you about outside.
Well, I'm gonna tell you though, if someone's sending a request through a Facebook page, that is not an official Saltillo Facebook page. So we're not gonna answer their
No,
response.
no,
give
no,
them a
I don't mean
response
that.
anyway.
I mean, if someone asked us, you know, what
Well, usually
are
you
the
can-
I think it would be a nice thing for us to have, whether it's 1 day a week, 2 hours, or 1 day a week, whatever, that is necessary. She could be doing her regular work, but I think it would be good to have posted on the door, so the City Hall is open Wednesday from 11 to 2, or whatever, Friday from 9 to 10, you know, but it would be good to have at least 1 day a week, a couple of hours, I think, for the City Hall to be open, for questions, for people that have moved in, to know something, to pay a bill, or to do
Okay.
whatever.
Well, she's here on Mondays and Fridays, so what we just need to establish is a time frame.
I think that
For
would be
those days. Okay.
whatever works for her, you know, but I think it, you know, that would be a positive, that would be a user-friendly,
Okay. Well, I mean, I'm on this, when you give me those papers and when I discuss it with them, of course, I'll discuss with all of them a time frame as to where that you would have knowledge of when they're gonna be at City Hall.
well, for everyone,
Yeah,
yeah.
right, I understand
If
that.
somebody says, hey, when is City Hall open? We say, whatever.
But again, if you set hours like that for, let's say me, Kay, Stephen, if someone called me on a Thursday, wanted me to come up here and notarize an official document for here, What do you do in cases like that? If it's
I
not
don't-
within the regular working hours?
I think the regular hours, we have city
You
hours.
just have to tell them to come back
Yeah,
on Monday or Friday.
I think that, just like any, the courthouse is not open on Wednesday.
Yeah.
I don't care if
Well,
that's
I mean,
on.
most of the time, since we're a phone call away, they'll call, we come.
Yeah, I
you know,
know,
so-
but I do think it would be good to have a short time, not a long time.
Well, that would actually be beneficial for you too, if you
Yeah.
had a time frame, because then if people call out in the ordinary, then you
Yeah,
could
she can
relate to
say,
them, hey,
I'm
I'm
open.
open on
Tell them I'm
these
sorry,
days.
yeah.
Right. Okay, I don't see a problem with that. Okay,
I have just a statement to make. I think everybody that works for the city does a great job. A lot of us have, most of everybody in this room has volunteered on and on and on and on, too. But, I just wanna say, I don't know how we're gonna be doing this next month or whatever we're gonna do. But I went through and, this is the first year that we have a city tax, okay? I'm just gonna run down the thing. The percentage of increase that they have requested, which doesn't mean we have to do, is 26% increase, 33% increase, 23% increase, 67% increase, 300% increase, and 12% increase. That totals up 14 something, not counting the Social Security that the city pays, etc. So this total comes up to between 27 and 29% of the tax revenue we're going to be
well,
collecting.
we're not saying we're taking that out of tax revenue. That can be out of general fund or anything, but.
I didn't say where we were taking it
Yeah.
out. I just said, so people can understand, I just said that, I know that the state this year, I looked, it was given a 4.9% increase. Now, all of our employees live in the city of Saltillo pretty much, I think. But, to just give a heads up of that, the salaries that have been requested are pretty close to a third of what we've asked in tax revenue. And I know we can pay it out of the general fund, we can pay it whatever. But I just want us to, personally, that kind of shocked me. And so, I think this is a great thing because it lets us know, it moves us to a better place in that we know the jobs that we need, we know the time that it takes to do those jobs, and if we know we're gonna set, by doing this, we're gonna set a wage for those jobs. So, which we've not ever had before. So, if someone to say, hey, I'm getting retirement age, I'm quitting, then we can advertise and say, that job pays this much and it's this many hours a week, which we've never had that identified before. So I think this has pushed us into a better place, but I do think we need to be cautious about jumping there. Steve used to get a bonus. A bonus is a one-time thing, and we don't want to go there. I don't mean that. But a raise is not just this year. A raise is for that job 3 years from now, for the next person. And if we're to consider our taxes and whether we're going to raise it or lower it or do what the guy told us to do or suggested, I think we need to take all that into consideration.
Okay.
So it's not about picking somebody and say, I don't think you're worth this at all, from my standpoint. I think it is, listen, we're a city, this is a business, we are, we have to be respectful of the citizens of this town and what they, the changes they've had to adapt to by having the city tax. So, that's
Okay,
all.
now,
Whatever.
I think that when you start looking at percentages and state percentages, the state wasn't demised in their salaries in the first place. Now, when we're talking, I don't know what percentage you had on the maintenance man, but when you start talking, they're getting paid $9 an hour, and what they want, $11 an hour?
They're paid $9.50 and they're wanting 12. Well, that's a 26% increase.
but-
Well, I'm not saying they're
Yeah.
not worth 20. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying that when you look at whomever that works in another job, you know, I mean, we've got 600 citizens here in our town, and when you say, okay, I know somebody's husband just got a 3.6% raise, you know, but what I'm saying is, I think we should look at all of it instead of just this paper.
Well, what you're looking at is a survey. It's something to go by because that's what those people have asked for. So what we're doing is trying to balance between what we can pay them and what they ask for. Now,
Well, I've never seen someone, no one's ever asked me what I wanted to make next year myself. But you gotta start somewhere, so whatever that is, you know. But I think it would be a good thing for us to look at these jobs in addition to this deal, look at these jobs to say, okay, you know, this person may be working this job today, this year, next year. And then, but is this the salary that's a good, honest salary to do that job? And also know how many hours that job takes. And we don't know, just like the questions tonight.
Oh, yeah, we do know. The maintenance men work 3 days a week. They
We
need
just,
to work
but
4
we
or 5.
we didn't know that, or no, people wouldn't have asked that.
Well, now, I know you do because we have discussed this for months and months, that they work 3 days a week.
Well,
And that the city police work 30 hours. I mean, that's 3 days. And plus, you guys are here every day, so you see them. You don't see them on Thursday, Friday. They work
I
Monday,
don't pay
Tuesday,
attention
Wednesday.
if I see them Thursday or Friday. I barely
Well-
get through which day of the week it is myself. I don't even know if it's Monday or Tuesday, you know.
Well, but anyway, if you've got that sheet there, I mean, if you want to if you don't want to give the sheet, you want to discuss it in public, it don't matter to me. But I know what they asked for, and I was hoping it'd be better that we could kind of come up with an idea, and then between that, discuss with the employees. Because I'm gonna tell you, the city, I think that we're doing real well, but now that people going to McDonald's and getting $14 an hour, and then they out here cutting weeds and bushes for $9. I mean, now that the salary has come about as far as the whole government is concerned. I know my son, he surprised me. He started autos on $19 an hour, shocking me. I said, I need to quit my electric doing that and go over and get a job. I could live on that myself. But anyway, that's now we're not voting to give these people this money tonight, but I need some kind of idea as to what the board wants to offer them.
Is Charlotte Graves, is she the TIBRS officer?
Yes,
Yes.
Tabbers.
And she works 30 hours a week?
She works 18 hours
No.
per pay period.
She works 18 hours per pay every 2
Okay.
weeks.
See, Stephen works 60 hours per pay period.
Okay.
Every 2 weeks.
So it's not necessarily, because it's the 15th and the last day of the month.
Okay.
So, it's shorter in some months, and other months, he may put in the additional days.
All right, thank you.
Let me ask a question or two here, and just looking at the sheet, thinking about the new budget and all the things you've been saying the last little bit here, we've been discussing. So, assistant fire chief, we don't have one right now, right?
No,
We don't have one.
Yes.
we don't have.
We don't have a assistant fire chief. So we need to consider that position in this budget, or are we gonna say?
It's not on there. It's assistant fire chief on
Yeah,
there.
you got it over
It's
here.
not here, but is that what
It's
Kay,
Kay.
is
It's Kay.
Kay is?
Is she assistant fire chief?
I've got a position that I've written up as Assistant Chief of Administration. And that would be what Kay,
Are we paying Kay $75 a month
Yes.
for that job? So we're
Well,
paying Kay for that job?
I'd get with MTS to actually find out the proper name for the position that she was doing.
So we're
Because
paying
it
her for
got
that.
completely, because she was just called a secretary.
No, I guess. Well,
So I came up, that's something I need to bring in and present to everyone.
It was
To
voted
Yeah,
in
so
show the layout of what all
salary.
is.
yeah, for the sake of time, this page says Assistant Fire Chief, and it's got a monthly amount, but it has no name attached, so if we're making a
It's
budget.
underneath her.
Huh?
It's
I think it's
her.
underneath Kay's
It says
name.
Alright, well,
Senator.
it wasn't filled in like everything else, so
Yeah.
anyway, I thought it was a vacant position, but we need to consider that position going forth in this whole budget. Also, the vacant patrolman position. You know, as we're moving forward, are we trying to, employ another patrolman for evening or whatever? Cause, I mean, if we're looking at a budget and pay raises, while we're doing pay raises and discussing that, we need to go ahead and look at all positions, because if we don't, we're gonna talk to somebody and all of a sudden wanna put a position in and we don't know what the salary's gonna be or what they're gonna.
Well, now, that's another thing, if you're looking, and you can get Stephen Gray's salary, and he's getting right at $10 an hour.
Yeah.
But for us to get another officer, it's gonna cost, I mean, they won't work for less than $14 an hour.
Right, yeah, that's kinda what I'm getting at.
So
that-
we evidently we can't hire one, because I don't know how we can pay him 10 and pay an officer that works under
Well,
him
the
14.
chief can't make
the
less
same
than
amount
his
that they spend.
employee
Right.
supervisor. I mean, that's, that, for me,
We
in
pay
my
Billy
business,
the
that's a
same
given.
amount.
The chief has
We
gotta
pay
make a
Stephen
little
when
more
he
money,
works.
because he's got some extra duties, but while we're considering budgets, we need to determine, are we gonna try to take our funding for our city, be it taxes or general fund or whatever, and go ahead and put that in place? When we do this new budget, we have it allocated, but we may not fill it. It may just be allocated. I don't know if that'll be a problem with the report, but you can go ahead and have that on pay. And then if you decide halfway through the year, we hired somebody, well, you got money allocated already.
Well, I agree, but that's gonna be up to you guys. You're the legislative, if you wanna allocate.
Well, that's
that
kind of
money.
what I'm presenting, that
Right.
I'm saying to everyone.
We need to add
while
that,
we're
is that
looking
what
at
you're saying?
everything, we need to look at everything.
Well, I thought we
He
were
said
gonna
if
hire
we're going to.
somebody.
Well, that's what I'm saying, if, now, I know, how much was Stephen Gray's
I thought it was 12.
percentage?
Oh, Stephen
No,
Gray's
he-
percentage? Well, now you're asking me, I already stacked my stuff up. Let me find it.
Okay, now, and Stephen, he's getting,
He's getting $12 an hour.
And I think-
how you figure that?
Well, it says
Well, it
right
says
here
that on the
report.
paper.
Well,
I mean, right here on the report.
That's on your paper, you
I know
guys.
it, but you know, he's not getting 12.
Well,
Hey,
if,
Benita, how much was his salary
That's his
last 2
taxes,
weeks?
you probably make it $10.
Do you know?
Oh. Well, now, his regular salary is 600
600 every 2 weeks?
every pay period.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that's $300 a week, right? So 30 hours times
well, why
$10
does
an hour
it
is
says
how
on
much?
our sheet $12 an hour
Yeah.
that you put down,
Well-
that you gave us. I'm not crazy.
Well,
You might be.
well, it might be.
I
ain't
don't
by
think
myself,
anybody
though.
has a
We in the
problem.
same boat.
I know.
Yeah,
I don't think it's a problem for him making $15 an hour.
I don't think it's a
He puts
problem,
his-
no. I don't think a policeman should make less than 18 an hour myself. But, we haven't been discussing,
Is that what it was on that 12 hours? a
Yes.
it
week?
was
Yeah.
$12 an hour.
Okay.
Well, here's, for me, the ultimate thing in discussing positions and pay increases. I haven't been alderman here before, I've only been in here a few months, but knowing our revenues and expenditures, I hate to be strapped for cash in here as we make this budget, you know, so I'm just, you know, I'm concerned about that, being able to cover everything we might want to do. And like I say, we may not give everything that is requested, but whatever we do, I wanna make sure for the welfare of the town that we're not strapping ourselves where we're trying to pay bills with fundraisers, because that is not what we need to be doing.
300%.
Well, now, she's making,
Well, I mean, this is the percentages, this is what you told us.
right, and that's senior citizen director.
Yeah.
Right, and that's $50 a month is what she's getting, and now, but,
But this
Miss
is what,
Georgia, I mean, Miss May, how much do you work? I mean, I don't know, I don't know how, I don't know, so let me say that.
Well, you know, I work 2 days with the senior citizen.
Okay,
And then
How
I
many-
go
how
up
many-
there, I've been up there every day this week,
right.
cleaning up and messing around, cause I also clean up the storm shelter. And, you know, I just go
and
up
she
there
goes to the
And then I gotta
supermarket
cook.
and get food and cook for them.
every day.
And you pick up, don't you pick up senior
Yeah, I
citizen?
pick up senior citizen food.
I mean, you pick up Patsy and
And then I pick up Patsy, yeah, I have to go pick up Patsy.
That's-
And then sometimes I got to carry Miss Burma home.
But I mean, is all
and-
that in her job I mean, is that,
Yeah,
was
I
that
mean,
written out in her description?
I don't remember,
Yeah.
I think,
I
it was-
I
I
can't
think that we had
remember.
transportation and all
Yeah.
that.
Okay, I can't remember, I read all
So
that.
I may
put all
not
that
have
on
put cooking, but I think
Oh,
it was
you
red.
know,
Cool.
Anyway. We're-
I do a
this is
lot of
all
Hey,
things.
I
you
got.
know, I didn't know it, but before we allotted, I think we give you 100, 150 a month for food for the senior citizen.
Well,
And
I
before
don't-
that, she was using her own food.
yeah,
I didn't know it.
yeah, I
But
do.
I think we had
About
agreed.
three
to-
We gave
until
her
this
gas
year.
money at Christmas too, and that was, you know, because she done so much. And
I thought, does Teresa pick up, do you pick up stuff for them anymore? You
It's
don't
just
pick
their
up?
monthly supplies.
Yeah.
It's not food or anything like that, it's just the paper goods.
How many people do you have coming on Wednesdays anymore?
Well, it's about 6 or 7 at
Really?
times, now.
Miss Burma's,
Miss Burma's still coming, yeah.
oh, she's able to come?
Oh, yeah.
Miss Helen brings her, doesn't she? Doesn't Helen
And
bring her?
then, you know, some of them sick, like,
Yeah.
I got some, this, you know, I have to see that they get their medicine.
She helps me out a lot with
Okay,
And everything, you know.
okay, so I think that covers it except for River Day and the barbecue festival, the poker run, fireworks. Okay, before y'all leave, we're gonna need to we're gonna have a quick 5-minute beer board meeting because, the, Willie's One Stop sold and they got a new owner and they got a new, corporation name, so we had to issue them a new
Who did it sell to?
Maisha.
Who is that?
I
The girl
use she
that's down
and I mean.
Oh, the
I
girl,
use
the
you.
little
Yeah.
girl that's there.
Yeah.
So Omi didn't own it,
No,
and the daddy didn't own it?
no.
She owns it.
Her and Harry. It was Pete and
Who's Harry?
He
The uncle.
owned.
The
he's-
daddy?
No.
The uncle,
he's from-
yeah.
uncle.
Well, before we get to the beer board, I got one other item
Okay.
for business. You ready?
Yeah,
All right, I'd like to make a motion that we accept the Tennessee Property Tax Freeze Act, Tennessee Code annotated as provided to y'all in the previous meeting.
okay,
Oh, we did that last time, didn't we?
We didn't
No, he
vote
just
on
told
it.
us about it.
okay, and
I
what
make
that
a
says
motion we
is
do.
that, anybody over 65,
Can apply.
can apply and, the tax will freeze at the rate that we set it. Not only that, now, they got to remember that you can't have a farm, you can't have over 5 acres.
Right, and it's limited to an income, so
That's right.
based on what you said previously regarding the median
Median
income being
household.
$40,000, I think we'll have other people that fit into that, and it will provide them some protection in the future if something, if property tax goes up or not. So, Hardin County participates in it, and I think the city, again, should adopt a motion that we will follow suit Tennessee Property Tax Freeze Act.
Okay, do we
I
have?
make a motion that we
now-
follow
now,
the-
the motion that you're, drawing up is to an ordinance for that.
Yes, sir.
And we don't have the ordinance tonight, but we're making a motion for that ordinance, and
Yes,
we'll have the ordinance prepared at the next meeting. Okay,
make that motion.
motion by Alderman Woods, second.
I second.
Okay, so we're voting to, install the, TCA code, I think it's 75750, I believe it is, the.
675705.
Okay, for the tax relief, okay, so we're voting for that. Alderman Billings,
Yes.
Alderman, Morgan,
Yes.
Alderman Maynard,
Yes.
Alderman Reeves,
Sir.
Alderman Wood.
Yes.
Okay, so what we'll do is we'll prepare an ordinance for that and we'll have it ready to be voted on at the next city meeting. Okay, now, before you leave now, we only got a short amount of time. Now, you said you had some ideas as to the raises you wanted to give, so, I mean, if you wanna call and discuss that, I mean, if you wanna get it to me later, we can, but I'm gonna need to know, cause they ask me every day, what'd you find out? What'd you find? I told them, hey, it's up to the board, so,
Well, it won't take effect, will it not take effect until July 1st?
that's right, that's correct,
Okay, so it'll take effect then.
right.
But it could, I mean, it could be, we could consider that during, when we do our budget as well.
Well, that's when we would consider it.
Yeah, so we don't need
But
to.
we don't
vote.
have to do it right now.
Yeah.
Okay, so, but now we'll need time to work, cause if they asking, for for instance, now, I'll just use May as an example. She's here. I think she gets paid $50 for cleaning the safe shelter, for running the senior citizens and doing all what she's doing. She's asking for $200 a month. And you said that was a high percentage, but when you starting at $50, I mean.
I'm just saying that, I just went down through there and it was 300%, and that, it doesn't have anything to do with May.
I
It
know,
has
but
to do with
300,
whatever,
yeah, but
and they-
300% sounds like a whole lot, but when you starting with $50 for, I don't think we'll ever find nobody to do what
Right.
you do for that price. I think that that's, kind of misleading, but, anyway,
Can we have the
Well, I
money to
don't think
fix the
that's
air
what's-
conditioner here?
so what?
Can we have the money to fix the air conditioner?
I
I
just-
mean, we've been doing this for 3 months. Good
No, you ain't been doing this for 3 months. Y'all are the complaining, man, I tell you.
We are
I
not
just
the
called,
complainant.
hey, look, we just turned the air conditioner on today.
I've
Is
been
that
burned up
right?
in here for 5 years.
I mean, we have to fill it. Hey, I tell you what you might
I done
want to
adapted.
do. Let's just change the tune then. It'd be easier on me too. Do you want to put a new unit in? Cause I'm tired of getting it charged up myself.
Well, I don't
We
know,
don't know
I'm
we
just
need a new
saying.
unit, do we?
Well, we charge it up. I have to charge it up twice a year.
I know
We just
that.
turned it
Well,
on
I
It's gotta be
today.
I
expensive.
do that at my house,
Oh.
trying to extend it.
No, I'm talking about, we hadn't had it on all winter. We turned it on today and it's lower freon. So the bar's supposed to be here
Yeah.
tomorrow.
It's got a leak.
Yeah.
It's got a leak.
I know,
And
I'm
now
glad-
about the middle of the summer, I'll have to have it
No,
charged
no,
again.
no.
This is the first time since this inflation.
You can get us an estimate, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Get a good amount tomorrow.
That's a,
Freon gonna be
Okay, but
expensive.
Get an estimate.
lot cheaper.
Freon gonna be expensive tomorrow.
well, the
I
guy
just
that's
did not
come,
know.
now, we've got a guy that comes and charges for us for $150.
That's not, you can do that a whole bunch of times before you buy one.
Well,
Too.
no.
As
Miss
tight
Maynard
as
said
you
she-
are,
Miss
as
Maynard,
tight as
you
you
hear what
are.
she said? She been coming in here hot,
But
so.
you're tighter than
That's right. I'm tired of Dick's hat man.
you are.
Well, don't hold blame me for it. I mean, ain't not conservative.
In some respect.
Blaming me for being a Republican.
No, I'm not. You're not a Republican.
Why? You said I was tight. That's the
You're
only one
tight. I
tight.
know it, but you
Okay.
better act like a Republican in public.
No, I act like the same way all the time. Okay, so we're going to go ahead. Greg, I got your report here, and I think they all got the report. So next time we'll address what's going to be done up there. Okay, so now,
The beer board.
yeah, and I'm gonna say this right quick.
Need to adjourn the meeting.
Okay, let's see, this is May. So now, you know we gotta pass the budget by July 1st. So what we'll do is to have a regular city meeting next month. We might have to suspend the city meeting to have another meeting the month of June to complete the budget. I don't know. But
Well, I think it would be good if we could go ahead and set that date so some of us aren't out of town or whatever. You
Well,
know, I mean,
I
we
mean,
can
if we
set
can-
it, we don't have to,
If
if we don't
can
need
do
it,
then
we don't
can
have
do-
to.
Oh, okay. Well, it's up to you now. We might have to do it again. If we do, we have it probably, a week or two later. You got a calendar?
Yeah,
The 7th is our next meeting. That's our June meeting, is June 7th,
June the 7th, so.
the 14th.
If we
and
have to have
21st.
another
Yeah.
meeting, yeah, so June 7th is the city meeting, so what day do y'all, if we have to have another meeting? We could do it a week later or 2 weeks later.
so we don't have a planning session, we're gonna have another, we're gonna do this at a meeting like
Yes.
this?
Yeah. Oh, you talking about the budget?
Yeah,
Yeah,
to work on the budget, cause
Right.
it's a lot of detail you
I
have to go through.
understand. We're gonna do that, and if we need to, then, if we don't complete it, the city meeting of June, we'll have to have another meeting before July.
When we started, when you and I started, we had planning meetings.
We didn't have
Yes,
time
we
meeting.
did. What's his face from Jackson came up here with us.
The planner,
Uh-huh.
he don't do our budget.
I know it, but he was he set it up, helped us set it up to work through that in a planning session, like a Saturday morning. I don't remember when we did it, but anyway, whatever.
Okay, so, do y'all wanna set a date in case we have to in June ahead of time? No?
The city meeting's the 7th.
Say again?
The city meeting's the 7th.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I don't wanna set another meeting at this time, because it's just so far out there, but I mean, if y'all want to, I'm game, but I think.
Well, I mean, I was just saying, to kind of designate a date in case we need another meeting, so we would
Well-
know. I don't wanna be out of town.
Now, if we all do our homework with this expenditures and revenue sheet, we shouldn't have to have another because it tells everything we paid, how much we budgeted, and everything.
Yeah, well, too, if we, I know we gotta go through the minutes, but if we forego any other business and start with the budget and all that at the next meeting, that will help, cause we take a long time to go
Yeah.
through everything.
Well, we'll start with the budget next time. I hope next time we don't have a whole lot on the agenda, just the budget maybe. And we'll do that in June. Okay, one other thing, golf carts.
Well, did you do the beer board thing?
Now,
Well,
we need to do
the-
golf carts.
On the golf carts, before we adjourn the city meeting, I've talked with Stephen, and here's what we decided is that, I know the county came down and they came, but what we're not gonna do is, if we pass an ordinance pertaining to golf carts, then you gotta have tag, and so I'm not entertaining that ordinance. But what I do think, I told Stephen that I hope the board would agree that we need to target underage drivers.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this weekend, I passed 2 or 3 golf carts, had a 7, 8-year-old driving and 4 or 5 standing on the back. And I think that I'm gonna instruct him not to give no warnings, take them home, and if they got to give their parents a violation, because that's actually child endangerment to allow your child to do that. But as far as setting an ordinance or setting rules and regulations, I'll say before, we didn't have a problem. We know it's not legal to ride a golf cart on city street, we just don't enforce it.
But
Is the county gonna pull
is
us
the
over?
county gonna
Well,
report?
let me say
give us
this,
anything?
now, the county, we can't do nothing about what the county do.
But if it's on city streets, did the county have precedence over the city?
Yep.
Yep,
On a city street?
yes, ma'am.
Oh, really?
Got the whole county. Regardless of
They're the
municipality.
whole county, they're over us, and then the states over there.
We should have not made this, we should have talked about this for the election tonight.
Yeah, but if a state trooper comes down
Well, this
here,
ain't the election, you know, the
Well, it's
election's
a
in August.
Republican, yeah.
Right.
if a state trooper comes down here on the avenue just behind us, I mean, they could give you a ticket too. They are
Right.
statewide.
But if we pass
Yeah,
an
but they
ordinance,
haven't-
Stop people
They've
before.
never done that.
I know,
Yes, they
Well,
have.
that's true,
haven't.
that's
They
true.
have.
Yes, they have. On golf carts, the
Oh.
troopers have.
Oh, I've never gotten,
when we first started, but you know, like an ordinance, if we pass an ordinance, then we got to enforce that ordinance.
That's
If
right.
we pass an ordinance, say, hey, you can ride them on city streets, but you got to have a tag, you got to have lights, so I say just leave it alone. I think that the county, I think that a lot of the people in the county kinda was like we was, why are you down, you got nothing else to do besides harass golf carts, so, you know, I mean, this is we're a little resort town, and we never had no problems with wrecks or stuff like that with golf carts, but I don't know why they start now. I was in, and Stephen said the same thing. He said, Mary, when I was in Crump, I see them riding them all the time, and the county don't never stop them. And I was in Savannah this weekend, and golf carts and four-wheelers was riding up and down the road, and I thought they was gonna get killed the way they was riding fast as they was riding, but police rode right by them.
I think for us, that's the key. If, you know, if your young children are riding, being reckless, or adults being reckless, that's who needs to, you know, be talked to by the
Right,
police.
so I'm
I
just
think
gonna,
most people I see are,
if you got problems with the county police stop you, I suggest you talk to your county commissioner or something there, cause we can't do nothing about that. Okay, and we can't give you permission to ride a golf cart on city street. We can, but we have to set rules too. We'll have to say that you gotta have a tag, you gotta have a license, so we just don't go there, you know? And let's just see how it pan out. But if you got any other ideas, I'll be glad to entertain it, you know? But if we do set an ordinance, we have to enforce it because ordinance is law. Okay, so now, we're gonna, do you have anybody have anything else on golf carts before we move on? Okay, all right, if not, then do we have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Motion second,
I second.
meeting adjourned, the beer board meeting is open right now. What we're gonna do is the, Willie's One Stop sold to a half owner, and they got a new corporation name, so we had to change the beer permit to the new corporation, and that's what we did. So we need to sign this beer permit if you're all in agreement. Maisha, she partnered with Harry to buy Willie's One Stop and the River Landing. And I asked her today when she was in there, I said, well, is river landing part of your purchase? And she said, yeah. And I said, well, what y'all gonna do with it? She said, well, I don't know right now, but they trying to buy handy corner to it. And I said, well, I'm against you there. I hope you don't get handy corner, because if you do, you're just gonna shut it down like you did down at the river. So I don't think she liked it, but that was the truth. But she says, well, you know, if somebody else buy handy corner and they lose money, they'll just pack up and move on. So we already know it. So the thing about it is I suggest that I hope somebody else buy it. It's in probate right now. So, and they've got some buyers looking at it, but I hope it ain't somebody that's gonna just shut the thing down and then have a monopoly over the town. Okay, so does anybody have any disagreements with this? I'm gonna pass it around. If you can read it right quick and sign your name on it, we'll adjourn and we'll go.
She aware of the rules associated, you went over that with the permit and all?
Yes.
And she's
Well,
just a store. You know, they don't have a restaurant permit or at the store.
No, just a store. And only, I think she said that he partnered with the stores at Scotts Hill. Him and Harry, they gonna own the stores at Scotts Hill and 100 Crossing.
And the one at Regan too, really.
Yeah, the one at Regan, right.
So they're buying a new permit.
Well, they changed on that sheet there, it's got, what's the name of it?
It's a corporation,
I don't know.
But is it a
Trevera?
new permit?
Trevera?
We're not transferring a permit,
No,
right?
no.
They paid their fee, yeah,
Right.
but you can't transfer
Well, Harry, he was on the other permit.
Yeah.
But
Right.
seeing him, since him and Maisha, yeah, they got a new, it's a funny name.
It was DKUSA and now it's Trevera.
Yeah.
Is it Trevera? I think that's how they pronounced it.
all this communication we've had over the last few months from Mr. Willis and Jim Morgan and, is that the only ones we've had? We don't know, the ones that sent us letters, we don't respond to those, right? Do we follow up with those?
I mean, with Mr. Morgan there, I mean, you know, he's talking about the utility district. There's nothing we can really do about the utility district.
So we just got the notice and forget that.
Right, and then too, and Mr. Willis, he was talking about his place flooding, so thing about it is we could, I mean, looking at that, I don't feel it's warranted to our address. It's just, to me, it's harassment.
Well, he said he was gonna file a lawsuit, but
Well,
he
now,
never,
now we can afford to pay a lawyer.
yeah, but before, we haven't got notification that he's done
No,
that.
no.
Okay,
No.
so,
Now, if he get a lawyer, then we'll contact our lawyer and let him represent us, but, otherwise, I haven't even responded to that.
I didn't know.
Now, Jim on his, he wanted to meet her on, I can't think of that street right there where Dustin lives. What is that street in front of your house? Camp
I think he's actually on Holland, isn't he?
No, he's Camp
Camp
Road.
Road.
He's Holland.
It's Holland, that's what I thought.
E911
Yeah.
today
When you
said
when you
that's
go
all.
through that thing, it's Holland Street.
But
Yeah, Camp Road run across beside your
It
house.
starts, it goes
How
at
can-
Dana's
what's
and
his
it turns,
face?
but it
Scott
crosses
B.
over.
How can Scott be Camp Road and that be Holland?
Well, it's the way when you go around the curve and you
Dustin
keep right on
Scott's
up.
address is
It's
Camp
Camp
Road.
Mhm.
And Holland starts after, when you turn
Yeah.
Benita.
Sure,
But how does that one street, you
And
go
Miss
by
Burnham, the
that?
first two homes coming that
And
way.
also,
on
let me
Holland.
say this, and this was just, whatever, today, the street that's almost across from Michael, your son and them, that, I forgot the name of it.
Katie did, yeah.
Has got private drive on
It is. The city don't have nothing to do with that street.
That's a city street, according
No,
to
it's not.
911 says it is.
Says it
It's
is.
not.
What are you talking about?
Katie did.
Katie did, Lane.
Well, why do they think it is?
Well, they know it's not. That's why they got private on there, but I don't know
I
why
said,
the
why does
county.
911 think it is?
Well, I'm gonna tell you, we got two streets that's not in the city, and they might be on it now. If it is, when I go to the next 911 board meeting, I'll talk with, Brian Gibbs and them about that. Is the one right beside Sally's house.
Haystack.
Yeah, that's
Haystack Lane.
on the, yeah,
That's
that's,
not a
They
city
pay,
street.
well, they pay taxes.
Yeah.
I know it, but it's not a city street. They in the city limits,
And
but.
that
Okay.
development, when that was created, we did not adopt the street, that's the issue.
Oh, okay.
Same thing with Katy did, when they put that street in, the city did not adopt that street, so it's not a city street.
Yeah, because our policy is that,
thinks it
Well, 911 doesn't make a difference if it is,
Right.
the county and the city ordinances state that
Yeah.
it was not adopted.
Yeah.
That's what, yeah.
right, and I'll talk with Brian Gibbs and them and let him know that I don't know how they got that process. Okay, now,
Yeah, they gonna have it now. Yeah.
okay, are there any other questions on the beer board? If not, do we have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
I second it.
Meeting adjourned.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much every resident